in Nigeria Airways? No, what killed Nigeria Airways was something.
So should government be venturing into that area again?
It depends. When we were in Nigeria Airways that time, I went to Singapore to learn how they did it and succeeded. Don't forget that Singapore Airline was government-owned. Set up the same year Nigeria Airways was set up. When I got there with my team, the managing director of Singapore Airline was the same managing director that started the airline. And he showed us the picture of the Minister of Aviation. It was the same that started the airline.
So there was continuity?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was professionally run. And the man asked us, since you started your airline, how many Minister of Aviation have you got since? We couldn't count. How many managing directors? We couldn't count. The question you asked me, should the government do that? The government, for me, should be an initiator, a catalyst, but shouldn't have anything to do with the running of the airline.
You grew up in Owerri, the son of a catechist and a court interpreter. Those must have been powerful positions in that time because it meant that your father was close to the white men. So what inspiration did you get in those early days?
Well, when my father was an interpreter, I didn't know. But when he was a catechist, I did know.
What bearing did your upbringing have on the decisions that you took later in life?
Well, my mother was very strict. My mother. My father was more lenient.
As they always are.
Because he was always, away from home. And so, it's interesting you ask this question. Because if I now cast my mind back, each time my father was home, that was the time we go to my mother to ask for permission to do this or do that. Because she's so happy that her husband is back that whatever we ask is normally yes. The inspiration is that we got from my parents, really. We are nine children, 5 boys, 4 girls. We all ate on the same table. If you come back from school, others haven't come back, you wait. Sharing is caring. The young people tell us these days. So we are learning sharing was caring. And for people like me who loved food, I think I still love food. Good food, not every food. Okay. So I tend to get uneasy when some of my brothers haven't come back. In the family there was a good team of duos. Myself and one of my sisters on one side, and then my second sister, and then he's older than I am, and then my immediate elder brother and one of our sisters. They team together and we team together, and then we fight.
You've been quoted as saying that love comes after marriage.
My God. You did your research.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, very easy. Love, to me, is a very sacrificial thing. You love your wife because of your wife. You want to make her happy. So, and she loves you because of you. So, for her, it's looking after you. And for you, it's looking after your husband. When you are courting, you see, you have one leg in and one leg out. The challenges you get as a married couple, you don't really get it before marriage. So it is after, and you must make the effort to understand whom you are living with, and irrespective of his or her. You see, for me, love is a matter of will. It has nothing emotional.
I will love this man, or I will love this woman.
Yes. Period. Whether she is good or bad, I will love her. Whether he is good or bad, I will love him. And I will live for him. The one said, I will live for her. It is that matter of will. And you know that your wife or your friend knows that you have his or her interest at heart. There's no gainsaying. It has nothing to do with proximity. It's just because you have decided. Of course, when we are talking about this, you can't rule God out in the whole exercise. Because you have to bring God into your marriage, or else. From my religion, they said, without me, you can do nothing. That's what Christ told us.
Now, you'll be 74 very soon. You've been very successful in business. You've made a decent amount of money. But you still run this big business, which is involved in oil and gas, real estate, power. What is it that keeps you motivated?
We have a philosophy. I have an investment philosophy. And that philosophy, just two components, or three. One is, it has to be revenue generating, and it must be employment generating, and it must add value to the economy. And when I finished from Diamond Bank, and we had a meeting, a family meeting. I asked my children, what next for PGD? And they said, payback period.
Payback time.
Payback time. Yes, we have this, but it's payback time for me. For example, we have a school which produces, teaches, certifies people in Microsoft, Sun, Java, and what have you. And then we place them in companies. Some of them are working in West African countries. And, for example, I was having a chat with my son earlier on today, and he was telling me he was going to look for somebody to help he's in something related to that line. I said, why are you going to get somebody? Because he has a project to do in French-speaking Africa. I said, oh, one of the boys who was in that school is using, and he's using about 4 or 5 of them. So,
you're giving back to society now.
Hopefully, but not enough.
Well, I'm going to end this interview by asking you to give me a business tip. If you could invest in something else now, what would it be? In other words, what's new, what's next, and how can I get there first?
If you really want me to give you a business tip, we talked about the car, which is a very bulky investment. Mm-hmm. But for me, I would invest in education.
Education.
There is need for quality education in this country.